Hello, everyone, and today I'd like to continue discussing the concept of divinity. What an interesting concept it is. So, are we like animals? That's the question. And we're actually considered to be very similar to animals or to beasts because we undergo the same biological processes as them. Paul Rozin stated that the emotion of disgust actually comes from animal bodies and animal flesh, like animal fluids, blood, etc. And the behaviors that we do as a result, like washing our hands and vomiting, right, are to purify us or to cleanse us, right, from all this toxicity and contamination that happens. And so the author, actually, with another person, Clark McCaughley, also noted that these cause disgust, specifically the animal meat, right, that can be contaminated by other microbes and parasites, right? So not only the animal themselves through excrements and the blood, that's how evolutionarily we came to be disgusted, but also the contamination of these organisms with other microbes and parasites. So therefore, he talks about guarding our mouth, but also our bodies through unacceptable sexual acts. We want to avoid them, unattractive or unideal outer envelopes or appearance of our bodies, like skin lesions, missing teeth, missing arms, whatever, right? Not looking good on the outside as well. And this causes us to create norms, rituals, beliefs, and behaviors, as our body is like a temple for our souls. Many say that. So even though we do the same processes as animals biologically, like we excrete, we eat, etc., we have sex, we hide it via proper hygiene, not defecating or having sex in public, to maintain these social norms in a line with our beliefs that we're above animals. So we try to act via a clean way, using cleanliness and godly, and at times act like beasts for biological reasons. So we're actually like in the middle of the divine axis, which is the Z axis I've talked about in the previous video. He even talked to a person called Shooter, I think that's how you say his name, who visited India and discussed divinity there, where he saw different cultures that they protect themselves from degradation of divinity. And the author saw in Manu's Vedic texts on Brahmins on how divinity and disgust are separate, and how it's forbidden to engage in these actions, in disgustful actions, when you're reciting the holy Veda text, and how foreigners were not even allowed to the temples where the deities were, especially since they would contaminate them, right? People who have poor hygiene, animal products, or fluids or bruises and blood, and people who are not praying and not spiritually appropriate to enter from a spiritual standpoint, who are not religious enough. And so people had to take their shoes off at the temple, not bring the books to them to the washroom, etc. And so Schroeder and Waldo Emerson noted that to move to a higher level, you need not only to treat the body well, but also your soul, and help other people and treat them well, which can raise your karma, which can influence your reincarnation in the next life to help you be born higher up in the axis. In the Victorian era, they had this divine mentality, but then it faded away after World War II, right, in the later 1900s. But sacredness intrudes modern world as a crypto-religious phenomenon. For example, the author talks about feeling elevated, or this feeling of elevation. When we do a good deed, we literally feel these chills and this choking sensation. And Jefferson noted this feeling and how we can actually increase it when we read good literature, and we actually feel grateful as a result. And these positive feelings of elevation, this additional feeling that we get. Or even when seeing others performing altruistic acts or superhero acts, or when we feel admiration or awe. And some research suggests that maybe the vagus nerve gets activated and the oxytocin gets released along with it. And this could be true because oxytocin is like a love hormone, and that gets released, for example, even when mothers lactate, this bonding hormone. And there's a study that actually showed that more lactation was present when participants watched an elevation clip from Oprah Winfrey, where someone saved someone else's life. So there's this awe, admiration, altruism causing oxytocin release, this love hormone, for the woman to lactate, right? And David Whiteford also said that love may have something to do with it, as we notice people in church crying due to compassion and it don't even require anything, right? It can come from absolutely nothing. This feeling of love. Kant and Emerson also showed that spending time in woods, in nature, can cause this awe or admiration feeling, which can show you how small you are, and therefore this beauty from nature actually makes you seem small and insignificant, and that provides opportunities for spiritual growth, as well as things like prayer and spiritual practices like religious rituals as well. So we literally have this love good hormone release and this feeling of elevation when we see the other people do good deeds, or when we do good deeds ourselves to other people, all right, or when we engage in spiritual religious practices like praying, etc. And also when we're in nature, when we see the awe and admiration of nature and the wonder how insignificant we are in this vast dense world.